After so many years, finally finishing Kingdom Hearts 3 closed the chapter that was my childhood. There was sadness, excitement, but overall just comfort. Finishing Kingdom Hearts 3 was a very comforting feeling. Everything encompassing the ending that led up to those credits was an experience that I will never forget. The build-up of hype leading up to the game was a whole factor all by itself. I've been following the Kingdom Hearts 3 hype train since I was in early high school, late middle school, which is a pretty big chunk of my life, and yes, I'm that young. From anticipating new trailers at every event, to screaming with excitement over Disney World, to that moment where we finally saw the release window, even though it got delayed, was just a lot. Just a lot is one of the best ways to put it. So much had happened leading up to this game that when I finally opened up the application and heard that Dearly Beloved, I just had to sit there for a couple of minutes trying hard not to cry or just scream with excitement. The comfort I felt from completing this game and closing this chapter was a life-changing feeling. I felt genuine, just happiness upon knowing that I finally got to experience a game that I had been looking forward to for ever, and it lived up to its expectations for me personally. Especially the ending sequence of the game, which I just thought was amazing, borderline a masterpiece. After replaying so many of these characters' stories throughout the years, sometimes by myself, often on live stream, it was just exciting seeing all of these characters I grew up with once again together with a common goal. Like, a lot of people, when they first watched that cutscene with Roxas returning, which they built up in such a beautiful way, I was tearing up. The main part that got me was when I heard Xion's theme playing in the background as Sora tried to stop her from hurting Axel. She then starts to attack Sora, but Sora, or should I say Roxas, projecting himself through him, didn't fight back and just simply said, "It's alright," and then said her name, which hurt so much, and just thinking about it makes me want to cry almost, because I felt for her. Like, there's a reason she's one of my favorite characters in the series, easy top 3, top 5. As you're playing throughout the game, 358 by 2 days, you are forming this relationship with this character, and you see her methodically become more comfortable speaking to you, and Roxas looking for a new friend while Axel is gone, starts sharing with her the thing him and Axel bonded over the first few weeks or months in the organization. Those moments, watching the sunset while eating sea salt ice cream, the icing on the cake as they'd call it. Xion throughout the whole game is becoming closer and closer with Roxas and eventually Axel too. This isn't some sort of short-lived friendship either, it's one that spans over nearly a whole year with the organization, which for characters like Roxas and Xion was basically their entire life, the only thing they knew. So to have those moments of happiness with each other outside of the mundane missions they do on a daily create a truly authentic friendship built from the ground up like we've never seen before in the Kingdom Hearts series. Xion struggling throughout this game with her identity and exactly what she is. Roxas is constantly worrying about her, and so is Axel. After the midpoint of the game, those moments where they were eating ice cream together and having those happy moments happen less and less. They're fewer and far between. Some days Roxas is just there by himself, and it's sad. Their loyalty should have been to the organization, but they found something else. They formed hearts while interacting with each other. Xion finding out what she is, with some slight convincing from Riku, doesn't think she should be with the organization anymore. She struggles with the decision of should she help save her loose counterpart, which is Sora, or stay with her friends. She makes the decision that she thinks is best in the end, running away from the organization and battling it out with Axel and eventually Roxas, who she wants to defeat her so she can return to Sora, which is also where she says he belongs. They can't be their own people at this point. They are nobodies, one of them not even that, truly. They can't be together anymore like this, but rather will live on through Sora. At least that's what they thought. For Xion, it's even worse because she won't even be remembered because she was created entirely out of those memories. And if she returns to Sora, everyone will struggle remembering her. But while sharing these moments together, they formed hearts, which means they could in fact be their own people if given a vessel, given the right opportunity. This is what that scene in Dream Drop Distance partially wanted you to realize, with Sora meeting all of them in the world that never was, and Riku visiting all of these characters in the ending. Sora can mend their hurt and allow them to be their own people. Xion, or the imaginary number, being brought back as the 13th member of the organization, the Seekers of Darkness in Kingdom Hearts 3, due to Vexen still having files on her, provided a perfect opportunity for her to return. So backtracking all the way to what I was talking about, hearing Xion's name said holds so much weight, because now it's like Roxas remembers her, Axel remembers her, those friends that she formed throughout that year with the organization, they remember her now, they remember that tragedy, that struggle. It's just a perfect combination, resulting in tears from the consumer. Seeing her again was such a rewarding feeling. This is also followed up by Roxas returning himself, as he had a vessel prepped for him in Ansem's lab earlier on in the game. This was the moment the Days trio truly reunited, and this entire cutscene went from sadness to amazement to hype. As when the battle against Saïx commenced and Xemnas runs away, you hear the most triumphant battle theme I think I've probably ever heard in the Kingdom Hearts series, as you have Roxas and Xion in your party now. Roxas destroying Saïx, and all you hear in your ears is just this.
I call on the moon's pale light. This fight is over.
They mixed together Vectors of the Heavens and the other promise to make such a cool moment, one of which I won't be forgetting anytime soon or ever. This scene by itself is already really impactful, but the work Yoko did with the music here just made it even more so, perfectly fitting every single moment in this scene to sync up with the music. As when I experienced this for the first time though, I just felt alive. Like, that's the best way to put it. I couldn't contain my emotions. I was super excited. And then when the battle is over and you see them just all hug and crying, I don't even know what to say. It's just, it hits. That's the best way to put it. Like, everything leading up to that hug was just a lot. They really had been through so much. So after seeing these two return, and then you see the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 with all three of them eating ice cream once again. Oops, my bad. 7 of them eating ice cream once again. It's beautiful. So beautiful. Everything that led to them sitting on that clock tower once again is just one of the many things Kingdom Hearts 3's ending sequence offered me that made it something super memorable. Roxas got the best of both worlds. He got his sea salt trio back, and he got the friends he made on that summer vacation back. And Axel was even able to get Saïx back. It was all just a perfect, happy ending for that group right there. Some other moments that I absolutely loved from Kingdom Hearts 3's ending sequence, like how Riku Replica had a surprise story arc in this game that wrapped up just beautifully, with him ripping the old Replica out of his vessel, and instead of taking the vessel for himself, which he could have, leaves it for Naminé, telling our Riku that the world already has you. A lot of people probably don't realize how interesting it was to see this, because it's probably safe to say that Chain of Memories is one of the more unpopular titles when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, so it leaves this game a lot less explored than others. But Riku Replica had an entire arc in this game which involved him fighting with himself, thinking he is the real Riku, or rather wanting to be the real Riku. A line he says in Chain of Memories that kind of hits is, "As long as you're around, I'll never be nothing more than a shadow." In a fight he has with Riku in the game, a fight to maintain, I guess, his sense of self. This character, interestingly enough, also formed their own identity, which is why they stuck with Riku throughout a lot of his adventure, but kind of in secret until we see him in Kingdom Hearts 3. In his death scene in Chain of Memories, or his proposed death scene, he has a certain amount of resolve in the end, which is why this replica that you're seeing now with Riku isn't as evil and as chaotic, I guess you can say, as as the one we fight in Kingdom Hearts 3. But you really do start to feel bad for Replica in Chain of Memories because although he probably never should have existed, he does, and he actually feels things and has desires, wanting to be his own person perhaps. Throughout this game, he's protecting Naminé, but not really. His mind is in the right place, but he's on the wrong side. These are goals given to Replica artificially, but he still latches on to this one in the end. So when he's leaving that vessel for Naminé, it's his final act to protect her. And I think that's just a beautiful way to tell this story, to end this story. Honestly, I'm definitely making a big Riku Replica video in the future because this is probably one of the most underrated characters in the franchise, and just because he's in a very unpopular game. Another ending moment that comes to mind that was super crazy was the Terra return scene. Now this scene didn't hit as hard as the Roxas return cutscene, admittedly because Roxas is more of a fan favorite than Terra, but it's more than that. It's because while Roxas' scene was sadness turned into something more triumphant, like a hero that saves the day sort of thing, Terra's was like a long-awaited struggle come to an end, as they confirmed a widely theorized thought about Terra being the guardian we see Ansem and Terranort use. While watching Ventus and Aqua be slung around by chains, Terra comes in to the rescue with the help of Sora, gathering strength from within the darkness to save them at the opportune moment. Sora releases his heart from within the Guardian and casting Xehanort out of Terra's body completely. Throughout all of this, Terra's theme is playing, which I gotta say, Terra's theme is just insanely hype and motivational. It's like the JoJo theme of Kingdom Hearts or something, because every time this theme is playing, something crazy is just happening on screen, or something crazy is about to happen. This sequence had a lot of build-up and less questions compared to Roxas' return, which lacked some explanations which were later fixed in Remind. Though despite that, both of these returns were just awesome to experience. The Birth by Sleep trio had truly been through way too much. Terra constantly fighting with Xehanort for control of his heart, Aqua trapped for 10 years in the Realm of Darkness, and Ventus being asleep for 10 years. All of their stories ended terribly in Birth by Sleep, and there was just so much tragedy. So seeing these guys together once again was very fulfilling, very comforting. One of the last moments I think I'll discuss is a little bit more simple, but this simplicity in the final fight is what wrapped up Kingdom Hearts 3's Keyblade War and the saga in such a nice way. What I'm referring to is when Sora saw Kairi shattered in front of him and Xehanort summoning Kingdom Hearts, he nearly lost hope, but Donald and Goofy, like always, were there to pick him up. Even when Sora is ready to face Xehanort alone, the boys, Donald and Goofy, just walk forward with him, saying, "You can't forget about us." Kingdom Hearts can make me cry with something as simple as this scene because it reminds me that they've been there since the beginning, since we were first searching for Riku and Kairi in Kingdom Hearts 1, to when Riku betrayed us and started siding with Maleficent and Ansem given he was groomed for the task, to when we had to fend off the organization in Kingdom Hearts 2, beat Ansem in Kingdom Hearts 1. They were there for a lot of that. These were the best friends Sora had made along the way. They were ready to even betray their king in Kingdom Hearts 1 just for Sora. When I was like 4 playing Kingdom Hearts 1 for the first time, I remember being so excited to have these two in my party. So like knowing that the final battle with Xehanort was going to be tough, but that I would have them by my side so it'd be okay, made me really emotional. The way the Xehanort fight ends with Sora on his last legs and you just hear Donald and Goofy through your controller and that Trinity command popping up, those are moments that I play Kingdom Hearts for, and it's perfect to end the saga with that, with my boys Donald and Goofy who have been there since the beginning. I found it very fitting. Now, those are just some moments that I enjoyed a lot that led up to the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3. That made Kingdom Hearts 3's ending sequence insanely memorable. All of these moments make the final pre-rendered cutscene and seeing Naminé and Riku, the Seesaw Trio or the Seesaw Group as I should call them now, the Birth by Sleep Trio saying goodbye to their master, and then all of them on Destiny Islands playing together, which I must mention, by the way, the Twilight Gang finally got that trip to the beach they wanted. It's all just perfect. Perfect. Or almost. Sora disappearing, definitely shook me. I was one of the people that didn't register it for a minute, but when I did, I genuinely just did not know how to feel. I was shocked, like the silent sort of shock. Like I couldn't believe they did this. They baited me with the happy Sora and Kairi moment, but then he just fades away. And then the credits roll, and you just hear Utada in the background. But waiting around in the credits to see the epilogue, I was insanely excited seeing the foretellers in this game, as I had not expected that. Seeing Lucio as Xigbar made me jump out of my chair just going nuts, but I've talked about this cutscene enough already. Maybe not enough, but I have before. So a day later, when the secret ending patch would come out, I was interested to see where Sora was. I immediately recognized Shibuya and was very confused about everything else. The epilogue and the secret ending did leave me interested in what was to come, however, but finishing the Dark Seeker saga finally was just a feeling that I'll never forget. Regardless of Sora disappearing, I hope he's fine in the next saga, but there was just too much good in that ending for that to even ruin it for me. It has made me excited for what comes next even more, if anything. But I was just genuinely happy to have finally be in Kingdom Hearts 3 and to have it become my favorite game in the series at that point, and still is 2 years later. I love Kingdom Hearts 3 and I want to wish it a happy anniversary. I wanted to say thank you to Square Enix for making my favorite game ever and making a game that would impact me in ways I couldn't even just fathom. This is a chapter closed on my journey leading to Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm super excited for what comes next. Melody of Memory was super fun. Remind was a step forward towards the next saga that I couldn't even imagine them going down, but when I look back at it all, when I look back at Kingdom Hearts 3 and everything that led up to it, I just have hardly anything but love for this series. For what Nomura made, what the Osaka team made, Tokyo team made, what all the developers, artists, everyone who worked on this game, on these games, created. Thank you. And I also want to thank you guys for watching today's video and supporting the past couple of videos I've been making, just celebrating the anniversaries for some of our favorite Kingdom Hearts games, for Kingdom Hearts 2.8 and for Kingdom Hearts 3 and Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. Tell me personally in the comments section what some of your favorite Kingdom Hearts 3 moments were. How did you feel after completing this long-awaited title for the first time? But that'll be all from me though. If you enjoyed, you already know what to do. Leave a like, share the video with a friend or family member, and last but not least, if you're not already, and want to become a part of the union, all you have to do is hit that red little subscribe button down below. My name is Prodigy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, you guys. Bye.